does not impact tariff. And it's on the discoms, the energy department gets a certain amount of fund which goes to the discoms. We create infrastructure, and that infrastructure goes a long way in providing affordable supply to all of you. Central government, of course, plays a very, very large role. They come up with schemes like, Saubhagya, Ujala scheme, and RDSS, which is right now Odisha is not getting the benefit, but I'm sure we are trying at least to create disaster resilient infrastructure, which if we try to spend it through capex, will have a huge impact on the tariff. And that's another issue which, when we talk about optimization. So that's something which we are working very hard. Energy department is working very hard. If that comes through, and that's a necessity for Odisha. We know some states like Andhra, Odisha, and Gujarat, they need this kind of money. So there is a CA study which says that for the first 20 kilometers from the shoreline, a special kind of infrastructure has to be created, but it costs in crores. It doesn't cost 100 crores, 200 crores, 5,000 crores. So it has to be done in phases, but it needs to be done. Because we have seen that whenever there is a cyclone, the infrastructure which is built in a hurry is not that robust that we do in a peacetime. So a capex done in peacetime in November, December is a completely different kind of infrastructure. The infrastructure that we create post cyclone is something everybody is in a hurry, and people can't live without power. Hospitals are not running, government offices are not running. So that infrastructure actually is not a very good idea. So somewhere resilient infrastructure build up and the funding will have to come, and it will have to come from the center only. They have already started doing that, and Odisha government, of course, is huge on advocacy on that, and we should be seeing some very, very positive results. In Odisha, we have another very good model. We have Gridco, which actually procures power on behalf of 4 discoms. In Delhi, if you go, TPDDL buys its own power. They have got 25 years PPAs, and the cost of power is so high that it's very difficult for them to call something like affordable power. Delhi, today tariffs are low because the tariffs don't reflect the cost that is being spent. So there's a huge amount of regulatory assets. And in Odisha, I must congratulate the regulator and the government to ensure that regulatory asset build-up is something which is, they are very, very averse to, and they have been playing that role. And I'm sure that we will always be in a situation where there's no regulatory build-up, because ultimately the regulatory build-up is also paid by the consumer only. So that interests the consumer. As I said earlier, they must have a slight tilt towards the consumer. I think they're doing that role very well. OPTCL, of course, very efficient organization, another stakeholder, regulated business. They spend money within a defined time span. Probably they should be completing the projects in much lesser time, because whatever is the interest during construction, we won't complete the projects. Transmission projects perennially and across India have a problem of ROW. Generally they get solved, but they get solved over a period of time, and that costs money. That interest during construction, it goes back into the capex and it goes into the tariff. So OPDCL has been doing a good job, but now I think they have come up with tariff-based competitive bidding. And we know that tariff-based competitive bidding, when the central government came in 2011, has reduced cost, has reduced timelines. So that's going to have a huge impact. The transmission tariff last year was reduced by 4 paise. That is something unheard of. At least I have not heard in any state so far. That is something. So when it comes to optimization, I think as a state, Odisha is doing a very, very good job. But across India, I think some models, best practices have to be copied. We have to learn not only from India but from abroad. Central government I talked about. Then there are other stakeholders, like we have associations, federations, FICCI, MSME, Smart Grid Forum. They talk about technology, and then it's the responsibility of the regulator and the DISCOM to pick up the right technology. When we came in, we brought in SCADA control. Now, we don't have to travel during a cyclone to restore supply. We can do it from power system control. Right now it's in Kalyani complex, but we are coming up with a technology center very close by. And today around 150 primary substations are on SCADA. Now imagine a situation, of course not all will go on automation because some of them are very far-flung areas, but imagine a situation where every PSS can be controlled. Power grid controls each and every 220, 400 kV and 765 through a control center in Bhubaneswar. And of course they subsequently went and did it on a regional basis. But the control from one central point does not necessarily require that you have to travel, and that allows faster restoration. I think people who are in this technology business the discoms have to get aligned and pick up and choose the right technology. We are today implementing GIS, we are indexing each and every consumer. And once you map and interface geographical information system with smart, SCADA, you can actually tell a person to move from where to where. You have centralized crews, they can move. Like in Swiggy, we can track the person. So the person in a Fuse call center can be actually tracked on your mobile. And it's not very far off. Probably you'll see it in this financial year. There's an active involvement in that. And it doesn't cost much, I can tell you that. In fact, if you improve your efficiency, that cost gets nullified by improved efficiency. So that's kind of customer service is another thing that we have to provide without spending a lot of money. And with the advent of availability of internet, the cost is not a factor because you can communicate properly. And internet is available in Odisha right till Mankalgiri. I was there for 2.5 years. We could actually encourage rural people to download this app for making payment digitally, where they get 3%, now of course 4% rebate. 10 lakh consumers downloaded in 1 year, and I'm talking about rural consumers. So that is one thing every stakeholders must encourage to use technology and keep the cost down. Communicating through newspapers or TV channels is an expensive way of doing it. Of course, they do that also, but that's something we should eliminate. Tata Power and the government, two owners of the discoms, and I think they have been playing their roles very, very responsibly. Odisha government has been funding some capex, which if funded by the discom, as I mentioned earlier, will give a 16% ROE to the discom, but will impact your tariff. So they have been supporting low voltage situations, mitigation measures in villages. They have been supporting many other funding, many other programs. Tata Power has made sure that all the risks are mapped and mitigated in time. Corporate governance is another very, very important activity. Social responsibility, another important thing. We must make sure that we support the people and the communities we serve. And these are as per Ministry of Corporate Affairs guidelines. This is not something which impacts tariff. This is all built into the system so that we serve you better. We serve the people who are more needy of services other than electricity. And that's what we have been doing. Employees also are a very big stakeholder. Employees can actually decide on the reliability, and actually they impact the cost also. So if a certain number of employees do not deliver to the full potential, then you have to hire more people, and that's cost. And any cost we know is going to ultimately impact tariff. So employees have a role to play. Business associates. Now, earlier we had seen that a lot of work used to happen on breakdown once there was a breakdown. Now we have got preventive maintenance teams. So a lot of business associates have been associated with us. MSCVs have been associated with us. Government has given special policies for them. So these are also stakeholders which contribute in their own way. So I think all in all, I think, as I said earlier, the distribution sector has got multiple stakeholders. Some have a direct impact, some have an indirect impact, some have marginal impact. But everybody who's in that area or in that license area is actually a stakeholder, and they have something or other to contribute. So, talking specifically about Odisha discoms, I think Odisha is on the right path, and if not immediately, in another 4 or 5 years, we will have seminars on value creation or added value services, and not on availability and reduction of cost, and that's the future I look forward to. Thank you, and all the best.